Welcome students, welcome to the lecture number 8 of Python Programming Fundamentals. Okay, in the previous lecture we have learned about the input statement and the output statement and also the various options which are included with the output statement. Okay, now the today topic is basically how to write a program. Okay, but before moving on to that topic, we know that there are operators in Python, and the operators in Python are divided into following categories. One is the arithmetic operator, relational operator, logical operator, assignment operator, and the membership operator. Okay, and I already explained you about these operators in the previous lectures, right? So basically, as I told you that today we are going to start some programming. So in order to start these programmings, we have to use the operators. Okay, so initial programming we do with the help of arithmetic operators, and basically in the initial programs I basically use these arithmetic operators in my program. Okay, so just have a recap of all the arithmetic operators. That plus is for addition, minus for subtraction, star is basically for multiplication, slash for division, double slash for floor division, then percentage for modulus, and the double star is for exponent. Okay, so I already explained you about the functioning of all these operators in details in the previous lectures. So if you want to know the details, you can go and see the previous lectures, right? So how to develop a program. Okay, so basically why the today's strategy that I'm going to explain you is basically focus on that part, that how you are going to develop a program. Okay, let me tell you what is the complication right now. Whenever you get a question for writing a program, okay, in most of the cases what we will do, when we get the question, we start writing the code of that program. Okay, so basically we all follow this approach. As soon as we get the question, we start developing the code of that question. Okay, this approach is okay, but only in those programs where the complexity level is low. Okay, you can easily develop those programs with the help of this approach. But as the complexity of the program goes on increasing, then the problem arises and the student says that they have cleared the exam of such subject, but they don't know how to write the program. Alright, and most of the students face difficulty in making the programs. So I will explain you that why this problem occurs. Okay, so as I told you that most of the students follow the approach in which when they see the question, they start writing the program, right? But what you have to follow, okay, first when you get the question, first develop the logic of that question first. Okay, first develop the logic of that question first, and when the logic of that question is ready with you, then you can simply write the code. Okay, so what habit you want to develop? You want to develop the program in this cycle, that once you get the question, first you develop the logic for that program, and once the logic is ready, then you start writing the program. Okay, so as I told you that how to develop a program, so obviously I told you that for that we have to prepare the logic for that program first, and then we write the code. Okay, so is it there any formula for building the logic or any steps for building the logic? Yes, there are some steps that you have to follow in order to develop the logic of a particular program. And what are those steps, or what are those stages? The first step is aim. Okay, the second step is data collection, third step is process, and the fourth one is basically the result. Okay, so the logic building procedure of a particular question is divided into these four stages: aim, data collection, process, and then the result. Okay, so today we are going to develop some programs, and for developing the program you will see that first I have the question with me, and then I prepare the question logic with the help of all these 4 steps, and once the logic is created, then I'm going to develop the program. Okay, so let's begin our question series based on arithmetic operators. So the first question that we have is, write a program to find simple interest on amount 1 lakh. Okay, so this is my first program, and as I told you that before developing the code of that program, first of all we will do the logic building. Okay, so in this case it is given that we have to find simple interest on amount 1 lakh. Okay, so this is the question. Now let's see that how we are going to develop this question. Okay, so our basically question is that we have to find the simple interest and simple interest on amount 1 lakh. Okay, so we have to find the simple interest on amount 1 lakh, right? So this is basically our question. So now let me see that how we are going to develop the code for that, but first we have to develop the logic, right? So as I told you, when you develop the logic, the first step of the logic building is basically the aim. Okay, so the first step is basically that you have to find the aim of your program. So now what is basically the aim of your program? The program given is that write a program to find simple interest. So your aim is basically to find the simple interest. Okay, so this is the basic aim of your program, right? So you have to see that, okay, you want to find the simple interest, so obviously there must be some formula for it, right? There must be some formula for finding the simple interest. Okay, so we have to see what is the formula for finding the simple interest. Okay, but before, you have to check that, okay, we want to find the simple interest, but whether the formula for finding the simple interest is given in the question, okay, or whether it is already defined in mathematics. Okay, so we have to check whether the formula of the simple interest is basically given to us in the question, or it is already defined in mathematics. Okay, so when we go through the question, it is given, write a program to find simple interest on amount 1 lakh. This is the question. So in this statement, the formula for the simple interest is given nowhere. So obviously this is given, we basically put a cross on it. But yes, we know that the formula for finding the simple interest is basically SI is equal to, okay, and the formula is P, that is principal amount, multiply by rate, that is rate of interest. Okay, and then it is multiply by time, and then the whole is, okay, then the let me write over here, P into R into T, and the whole is divided by 100. Okay, so this is basically the formula for finding the simple interest, right? Now the next part of our logic building is basically, that is, the next thing is data collection. Okay, so the next stage is basically data collection. So what we have to find in the data collection, we know that this is our formula, right? This is our formula for finding the simple interest. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to find the values of all those variables which is given at the right side of this formula. That it means we have to find the value of P, R, and then we have to find the value of T. Okay, so let us see that how we are going to collect these data. The first is basically P, that is principal amount. So we have to check that whether the value of P is given in the question, or some criteria is given in the question regarding the value of principal amount, or whether we have to take it from the user. Okay, so we have to check all the variables with these options. Okay, but as you see in our question, it is given that write a program to find simple interest on amount 1 lakh. So it means the value of principal amount is given to us. Okay, and the value of principal amount that is given to us is basically 1 lakh rupees. So it is given to us that the principal amount is basically 1 lakh. Okay, so the value of P is given, and now the next parameter is basically R, that is rate of interest, right? So we will see that whether the rate of interest is given in the question. It is given anywhere in the question that rate of interest is 3.5 or 4.2, 10.9. No, nothing is given in the question regarding the rate of interest. Okay, so is it given that that you calculate the rate of interest according to this formula? No. It is also not given in the question that rate of interest is 10% of this, 10% of that. No, nothing is given in that. So obviously the rate of interest is also, the criteria for finding the rate of interest is also not given. So what we have obtained, that the value of rate of interest is not given, and there is no criteria given in the question for finding the value of rate of interest. So what is left right now? That is, we have to take the value of rate of interest from user. Okay, right. Similarly, when we see the value of T, that is time period, okay, in that case also in the question the value of T is not given to us, right? The value of T is not given. There also no criteria is given in the program, in the question, through which I can find the value of T. No, nothing is given. So obviously I have to take the value of T from the user. Okay, so it is find out now we come to the result that the value of P is given to us, that is 1 lakh. The value of R and T, we have to take it from user. Okay, so I think that in my formula, that value of the, how to get the value of P, R and T, I have already discussed, and 100 is basically a constant value, so it doesn't matter. Okay, if we simply use that value in our program, right? So we have covered the aim part, then we have covered the data collection part, and the next part which is left is basically the process. Okay, so once you get the all values, okay, so then what you have to do, you have to perform the process work. Okay, so what is basically the process? Once you get the all the values, then you have to simply use the formula that Pi is equal to, okay, let me put the bracket, then P, that value is the principal, and we know that in Python for performing the multiplication operation we basically use the star symbol for it. Okay, then the rate of interest multiplied by, the next thing is basically the time, right? And when product of all these things get divided by the value 100. Okay, so basically what we have done, once we get the value of all variables, we have designed the expression for finding the simple interest by using the arithmetic operators. Okay, because for finding the product, the arithmetic operator given is star, and for finding the division, the arithmetic operator given is slash. Okay, so with the help of those arithmetic operators, we basically design this expression. Okay, so now once our expression is ready with us, then what we have to do, right? Once our expression is ready, then we will give the result to the user. Okay, so our last step is to give the result. Okay, and in the result what we have to do, we have to show the value of SI to the user. Okay, so this is basically the logic building which I have developed for that question. Okay, so just have a look on these options, and let me develop the Python code for finding the simple interest on amount 1 lakh question. Okay, so now the Python window is going to open. Okay, now let me open the new file where I have to write the code. So this is my file where I am going to write the code. Okay, so let me just decrease the size of this file. Okay, so that I can see the logic as well as, and I can write the program. Okay, so you can see that how we are going to do the question. The aim is given that the simple interest formula is basically P into R into T. Okay, now first I write the comment over here that this program is used to find simple interest. Okay, so ये हमने that's simple question I have written. Okay, what is the basic purpose of this question? Now let's write the code of this question as per the information given to us, right? So the first thing is that aim part, from the aim part we obtained the formula for finding the simple interest, right? And then we have to move according to the data collection part. Okay, so the first is the value of P is given to us, and that is 1 lakh. So we simply write P is equal to 1 lakh. Okay, and then we have to take the value of R from the user. So we write R equal to, suppose if you want to take decimal value or whatever value you want to take, so we write simply float. Okay, and then input function, and in the input function we are going to write in the input function I will write that enter the rate of interest. Okay, so now I have written completed the expression finding the rate of interest from user. Okay, for getting the rate of interest from user, right? And then the next thing is T, that is time period. So that I taken in int, and just put input, then enter the time in years. Okay, so now the second the value of T is also taken from the user. So we have completed the data collection part, right? In the data collection part we have obtained the value of P as 1 lakh, right? And we have obtained the value of R and T from the user. Now once we have collected all the values, then what we have to do? We have to find the simple interest. So SI equal to P into R into T, and the complete expression get divided by 100, right? So this is the expression for finding the simple interest, and once this expression is over, the last thing is that we have to show the result of SI to the user. So we will write print simple interest is equal to rupees comma, and then we will write the value of SI, right? So this is the first program for finding the simple interest on amount 1 lakh. Okay, so now the program is ready. First we will save this program. So file and then save. Okay, so we'll write it as program number 3 underscore program number 3 underscore CS11. Okay, so let me save this. Now after saving it, let me run this program, and for running the program I have to simply press F5. Now it is asking me about the rate of interest. Suppose I have given the rate of interest as let me take it as 11.5, and the time in years is 3 years. So what we are getting, that the simple interest is basically 34,500 for the 1 lakh amount, right? So this is basically the simple interest formula calculator. Okay, so now we have completed the first program. Now let us see the second program. Write a program to find area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so first we develop the logic for it. Okay, so as you see, the program is basically to find area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so we have to find the area, right, and the perimeter of basically the rectangle. Okay, now so let us do our steps, as we have know that first we have to find the aim. Okay, so what is basically the aim of our program? The aim is basically that we have to find the area of the rectangle, as well as we have to find the perimeter of the rectangle. We have to find two things. First one is the area and the second thing is basically the perimeter. Okay, so we have to find these two things. So obviously, first of all, we have to see that what will be the formula for finding the area of a rectangle, and also what will be the formula for finding the perimeter of the rectangle. Okay, as we have seen in the question, the formula for finding the area, that is not given in the question. The formula for finding the area as well as the formula for finding the perimeter, both of them are not given in the question. Okay, then what we have to do? We know that the formula for finding the area of a rectangle is already defined, and that one is basically area is equal to length multiply by breadth. Okay, so this one is basically the universally defined formula for the finding the area of a rectangle. Similarly, for finding the perimeter of the rectangle, the formula is also defined, and the formula is P is equal to basically 2 times of sum of L plus B. Okay, so this is basically the formula for finding the perimeter. Okay, so the aim part in our program is over. Then we have to switch to the next part, and that part is basically the data collection part. Okay, so this is our second step. So what we have to find in the data collection part, we have to obtain the values of all those variables which is given at the right side of the equal to operator in the formula. Okay, so when we see both these expression, we observe that in both the expression L and B value is required. Okay, so in the data collection part, we have to find the value of L as well as we have to find the value of B. So when you see the value of L is not given to us, okay, in the question it is not given that value of L is 10, 20, 30, nothing is given. Similarly, the value of the criteria for finding the value of L is also not given, that okay, L is 10% of this or L is basically the sum of these two, nothing is given. So what we have to do, we have to take the value of L from the user, right? And similarly, when we look at the value of B, that is breadth, its value is also not given to us, and also the criteria for finding the value of B, that is also not given to us. Okay, the criteria is also not given to us. And similarly, when we talk about the last thing, that is user, so obviously we have to take the value from the user. Okay, so the last thing is left is taking the value from the user. So what we do, we will obtain the value of L and B from the user, and once we get the value of L and B from the user, then what will we do? The last step, the third step is basically the process step. So what we have to do, we have to do the process, and in the process we find the value, we write the expression for finding the area, and that is L multiply symbol is basically of star, so L multiplied by B. Okay, so by writing this expression we will get the area of the rectangle, right? And what will be the perimeter of the rectangle? For finding the perimeter, we will write the expression like this is 2 multiply by, okay, if we will write 2 multiply by, then we will put the bracket, and within the bracket I have simply write L plus B. Okay, so why we have put bracket over here, sorry, why we have put multiply symbol over here? Because we know that over here the sum of L and B get multiplied by 12. Okay, but the computer will not automatically consider that okay, 2 is written outside the bracket of L plus B, so we have to multiply the value of 2 with this. No, the computer will not automatically understand this. We have to implicitly, or we have to write it down that okay, you have to perform this multiply operation with the sum of L and B. Okay, the computer will not automatically understand that he has to multiply it. Okay, so it means whatever expression you write, the computer will blindly perform that expression for you. So once this expression is completed, then the last step is basically to view the result. And what we have to show in the result? In the result we have to show the value of the area. Okay, we have to show the value of area and the value of perimeter. So this is basically my logic building for that question. Okay, so let us develop the program on the basis of these logic. Okay, so I have developed one program. Now I am going to develop the new program for it. So for that I will open a new file. Okay, and then I will set the size of that file also. First I will remove it and all right. So in the logic building, what we have done, the first is basically the aim, that is to find the area and perimeter of the rectangle. So our basically the program is that this program is used to find area and perimeter of rectangle. Okay, so this is our program. We have to take the value of L from the user, like int input, and then we write the message, enter the length is equal to, okay, and then we will write the next statement for finding the value of the breadth. So we will just simply write the message b, sorry, it's breadth. Okay, enter the value of breadth, that is b. Okay, then we have to find the area, and area is basically length multiplied by b, and we will take a variable peri for finding the perimeter, and that is 2 multiplied by L plus b. Okay, and once this is the basically part of the data collection. Once the data collection part is over, we will start the value of process. These are the two statements that we have to do under the process part, and then we have to show the value. Okay, so print area of rectangle is equal to comma, that is area, right, and then we will write print, the message is perimeter of rectangle is equal to comma peri. Okay, comma, it's peri, right. So these are so now the program is over. Okay, and let me first save the program. So we give the name as program number 4 underscore CS11. Okay, and then I am going to run this program. It is asking me about the length, so I have given the length as 8 and the breadth as 5, and then I get the answer as area is equal to 40 and breadth is and perimeter is equal to 26. Okay, so this is basically my program for finding the area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so that's all for today. What you have to do, you have to just practice these questions in your computer. Okay, and in the next class we are going to deal with some more questions. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a nice day.